May the 13th, 2023. Guys, you're looking at radar and satellite images over Iowa. In the very center of this is Des Moines. You've got Storm Lake here, Spencer. Here's Fort Dodge. And you've got tornado watches popping up here southeast of Des Moines, here between Storm Lake and Fort Dodge. It's just a few cells that are popping up very strong, and this is the very tip of a much larger storm. But this is the only area in the nation that is getting the tornado warnings. So at this point in the video, if you're in this area, you take cover immediately. If you're not, but you have friends or family, you call them, make sure that they have not just been in trouble, lost their power, still have cell phone connectivity, and see and check on them. Again, you're looking at southeast, of Des Moines, Iowa, and then north of there, northwest, between Fort Dodge and Storm Lake, there's a system that keeps popping up these tornado watches. Now, the weather's very strange across the entire nation, but if you are in this area, just pause the video, take care of business, and come back and watch the rest of it. But we do have some very strange weather. I'm not sure if it's natural, it's man-made, or it's due to a movement of our magnetic poles. We're going to take a look at that now, but again, take care of business right now if you're in Iowa. Now, looking at the current satellite images from over again the U.S., you got New Mexico, part of Canada in the north, but Iowa, you're in the very tip of this system right here where the stronger storms are. Now, one of the things that I've seen, and guys, if you've been with us since 2012, I think is when we first came on to YouTube, back during the BP oil spill, whatever year that was, then you know that we've watched every hurricane, every tropical storm, every tropical depression that's came across the Atlantic. The weather patterns that I'm seeing now is totally different. One of the first things I want to point out is here in central Mississippi, it's not bad right now. But out in the Gulf of Mexico, here that's off the coast of Texas, a red state, there has been cyclonic formations day after day, pulling up. Most of these will pull up into Texas, keep that wet and flooded, go across the Texas-Mexico border, which is heavy right now, and then they push their way across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. There's a front that's coming down that's kind of pushing some of this out of our area, and we really need it because it's really soggy here. And we need a little bit of drying out so we can finish the planting. But the storms that are here in the Gulf of Mexico, guys, this has been continuing. If I ever had to say that I think something is man-made, I would say it now, unless the drifting of our magnetic poles has caused the shift in everything. And if you think about it, we're not talking about a physical pole shift, guys. That's different from a magnetic pole shift. The physical poles, basically, as far as we know, are the same place. But the magnetic pole has been drifting. And I do know that the shields of our Earth, the magnetopoles and the magnetosphere, are tied to that magnetic drift, not the physical drift. So as the magnetic drift drifts to the left or right, north or east, towards Russia, whatever it's doing, that's going to shift where the magnetic lines of force are coming into our planet. That could be what we're seeing. But this is the most unusual year in 13 years of Gulf activity that's continued in the same spot day after day, day after day. And a lot of places are getting flooded out. And you can see that it's still happening now and pushing a lot of moisture up into the central U.S. But notice out into the Atlantic there, we're already starting to see some very semi-tropical type formations. What I've been seeing with the storms here in the Gulf south of Texas and the inflow of moisture coming in from all the states, if you zoom in and take a look at the inflow patterns, we're going to have a hell of a hurricane season, guys. Whether it's man-made, manipulated, or a combination of both, I'm not sure. but it's going to get tough. We're going to see biblical type storms. Just listen to me, hear me out. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but these are very unusual patterns. I've never seen the Gulf this active for this long in the same period. It's almost as if something is targeting that area right here. And you guys in Texas and Louisiana, you know exactly what I'm talking about because you're getting drenched still. Houston, I don't know what the total rainfall is in the last week or so. Someone come in there and let me know. But we've been catching it here. This is the first break that we've gotten with the pattern you're seeing swirling across the U.S. Now it's pushing across Georgia, across Alabama, across Mississippi, and pushing some of this out of our way. But you folks in Texas, you still are getting it. And again, you're up in Iowa, we're getting the tornado warnings. So I just, like I said, this is totally different. And that concerns me. We saw the greatest snowfall in years and years through the Rocky Mountains and up through California. We're seeing record-breaking floods in other areas. This is going to be a season to remember for hurricanes, whether, as LBJ said in that classic quote, "He who controls the weather controls the world." And his eyes almost went dark at that point. It was very sinister in that statement because a certain group of this population, this planet, has been bred for the end times. And I'm not talking about the good people. I'm talking about the people that are really in charge of the nations of the world right now. But irregardless of what the cause is, things are changing very quickly, and it's going to get very rough. It would take a major change right now in the weather pattern that I'm looking at and that you're seeing for it not to be a very rough summer. Gulf of Mexico, Atlantic coast, down along southern California, out into Hawaii. So all of my friends in these areas pay very close attention to what we're dealing with here. I appreciate you watching, guys. I appreciate the help that you have been so generous with in the last couple of days. And thank you very much. Again, God bless every one of you. Be safe.